can you know if you or someone you love may be in a relationship with someone for their benefit and to your harm? Because that is the key into knowing if you are being led into a trap. Good morning, everyone. I'm Destiny Dawn, and this is the Destiny Dawn Show. Today, we're talking about warning signs of predators and how can you know if you or someone you love may be in a relationship with someone for their benefit and to your harm, because that is the key into knowing if you are being led into a trap. So, the first warning sign that I have for you, because our daughter was led across to the other side of the world to meet an online stranger. And looking back on it now, these are some of the warning signs that I noticed, and I wanted to share those with you today. So, the first warning sign is, and the biggest red flag is isolation. If someone is isolating you from your friends and your family, and you notice that you're spending more time with this person than you are with the other people in your life, that is a huge warning flag. That is the number one thing that they must do, is isolate you from everyone else to where you are only spending time with them, at least the majority of your time. Now, you may even say, oh, but I want to spend time with them. It's me. It's not him. It's me. I want to be spending time with him. Well, then you need to ask yourself why. Why are you wanting to spend all of this time with him? Because even if it is you that is wanting to spend that time, you need to check yourself. You need to check the relationship and see why that is. It's not healthy to not have the other people in your life that know you and love you, your family, your friends. It's just not a healthy situation. You need to have a well-rounded social group around you. Now, in our case, our daughter, she isolated herself from us all of her life. She was very quiet. She stayed in her room all the time. So it is harder to detect with people who are not, as vocal and don't speak and express their feelings or talk to you about their day, or just don't have a personality that's loud. It is harder to detect with a quiet person. But whenever they stop talking to you or spending as much time with you, that can be a sign that they are in an unhealthy relationship. And here's another key, is that at the beginning, it may not be that way. So what I'm saying is when it gets to be that way, because it may not start out that way. And anybody who loves you and cares about you, they should want to know your friends and family, and not just talk about, oh, I can't wait to meet them one day, or oh, I really want to meet your family, but genuinely being interested in your family and your friends and the people in your life and wanting you to have a relationship with them. If this is a healthy relationship that you're in, that person will absolutely not only want to know your family and friends, they will want you to have a healthy relationship with those people. Even if the relationship truly is not a good one, they would want you to seek to make it a good relationship. They would want to seek help for that relationship. They would want you to make that relationship healthy, instead of just saying, oh, well, I can see why, and they're horrible people and I would just throw them away. They wouldn't say that. They would say, I would love to see you guys get help. I'll do anything I can to try to make sure that you get help, because I know that your family does need you and you need them, and you want them, and we should try to get help and make this work. That would be the healthy thing. That would be the ideal thing, the thing that you would hope. So the first step is isolation, isolating you from your friends and family. The second step is, the second warning sign of predators is if you start to see a change in behavior and characteristic in the one that you love. If they start acting different, if they start saying things to you, making comments or asking questions that just seem very odd or strange, acting differently, they become more, they used to be very outgoing and bubbly, and now they're more just staying in the room all the time and very recluse, and even more than normal. if they aren't already that way, if you know, or if they are already quiet, if they're even more than normal. Even though my daughter was very quiet and stayed to herself, those last couple of months, I really noticed was even it was even worse. It was just to the point of just there was so much you could feel the tension in the house, you could feel the friction, you could feel the coldness. It was just really like just a cold shoulder. Um, and that's the other thing is that the person that is trying to lure your loved one away, they're going to start making them either hate you or be, either angry at you or afraid of you. And if you're in a relationship with someone, you need to think about that. Is this person starting to make you feel, or you might not think it's this person doing it, but are you starting to feel angry or afraid of your loved ones, of your friends and family? Or are you starting to look down on them and think that they're just very stupid and uneducated and they don't know anything? Are you starting to change the way you think about your family and your friends? That could be an unhealthy warning sign that something is wrong, because that is what the person will do. That's a part of isolation. The first biggest thing that they have to do to isolate you is they will start to make you feel like those people in your life, they're really not good for you, to make you angry at them or afraid of them, to make you think that they're lying to you. One thing that they'll do is they will take a little bit of truth, maybe something that you have told them, and it may have been a little bit true, but they blew it up into something and made it a lot bigger than it was. And then they ended up going a step further to even making it almost a whole lie. For instance, if you're 21 years old and you say to your loved one, or this person you're in a relationship with, I, my parents don't cook dinner for me anymore. They expect me to do it for them. And then that person ends up saying, well, that's not good. They're abusing you. They don't feed you. That's wrong. You need to leave them. It's taking a little bit of something true and just turning it into something completely different. So that's another warning sign to think about. Are you starting to get angry or afraid at the people that you used to love? And is your loved one starting to give you a very cold shoulder or look down on you or be afraid of you or angry at you or not spending time with you? Another warning sign is looking at your child's bank account. The bank account will always tell you what they are doing. I had a joint bank account with my daughter, and I was able to look at that and see what she was spending her money on. And you can't just look at the name on the bank account of where the money was spent. You need to know what that place is. So there may be a name on there, and it's not going to say visas or passports. It's going to have a name, and you're going to have to go dig a little deeper and find out what that is. And if when your children are living at home with you, you want to be able to know what's going on with them. And the money will always show you. Wherever the money's being spent will always tell you how that person is living their life. It will tell you about their characteristics. It'll tell you where they've been. It will tell you a lot of things. And if you don't have a joint account with them, if they're living in your home, you have every right to know how they're spending their money, because they need to be saving money. So that one day they can be on their own. So you can have them look at it with you. Say, I'd like to get on your bank account with you and look at where you're spending your money. Or you can just look around and see what they're spending their money on. If they're not saving money, that those things will tell you a lot. Follow the money. You will always know where that's going to take you. It will tell you a lot. All right, the next warning sign is, how are they getting their mail? Because if they're not spending the money themselves, they may have someone sending them things through the mail. They may be having someone purchase their airline tickets and sending those through the mail, or purchasing other things for them and sending it through the mail. I know one girl who had a P.O. box that her parents didn't know about, and she was getting things that way. So try to pay attention to the mail. Try to be the one to check the mail. And if they're really overly concerned about making sure that they get their mail or check their mail, or being the first one to check the mail, then that could be a sign. These are just things to look for, things to notice that you might not normally think about. going back to the last one when I was talking about, changes in behavior and character, if they're saying things or asking questions that are odd or out of place. My daughter started asking questions about flying in airports and things like that. And at first, I thought, well, maybe she was interested in being a pilot because I was, and I had taken all the kids on flights to see if that's what they might be interested in. And she wasn't. So I knew it wasn't about that. But I just didn't really dive deeper into it and have a conversation and find out why was she asking that. Another time she came into my room and asked me, "Is there anything I could ever do that would make you not let me live here anymore?" And I knew that was a huge warning sign. I knew that wasn't good, and it scared me really bad. And I didn't know what to do with that information. And instead of having a conversation about it, I avoided it, and I started rationalizing in my mind, "Oh, what could she possibly do? I mean, where is she what's she gonna do? She doesn't go anywhere. She stays in her room. She's the last person to have to worry about." She's not wild, she doesn't party, she's very quiet, and I just started rationalizing, maybe she's gonna do this or maybe she's gonna do that, but nothing could have ever prepared me for what she had planned. And so what you have to do is you have to be courageous and you have to go there and you have to go have that conversation. It might not be that minute, it might not be that next day, but in a couple of days, time is of the essence. You need to have that conversation. And I wish I would have sat down and got into her head and figured out all that that meant. And that's another thing that you have to do. You have to get inside your children's heads if they're living at home with you, or even if they're not, I mean, just to help them with, protect them. I mean, even our friends, we need to know what's going on in their heart, be there for them, be there like a friend. And to get inside our children's heads, it takes time. And that's something that these days, with everybody running to and fro, we don't stop to take time to talk to each other. It would have taken me at least an hour a day, with my daughter being so closed and bottled up that she didn't talk, at least an hour a day, probably 2 hours a day, really get in her head and talk to her and figure out what was going on with her. So it takes time and it takes, real conversation. Maybe you can just go out and take a walk. I think that is a wonderful, wonderful way. It gets you out of, just the bedroom instead of just going to their bedroom. It just gets you out. It gets you fresh air, maybe some sunshine, makes you feel good, gets your body moving, gets your heart circulating. And it's a great way to have a talk. And it kind of gets you busy doing something where it's not like we're just going to sit here looking at each other having a talk. We can just walk side by side and we can think and we can dream and we can, have those conversations. And those hard conversations will become easier, I believe, when we're outside in the environment and in a different environment and walking around. So I usually started calling it, when we say let's go for a walk, it really means let's go for a talk. So, and you can go to a different neighborhood. If you have to drive to the park or neighborhood, just get out and just take that time to be together and say, I really want to know what's going on with you. I miss you. We haven't talked all week or whatever it is, but have those conversations. See what their heart's desires are. See what their problems are. See what's on their mind. You have to get into your children's heads. All right. The other thing is conditioning. This was a big tactic that I didn't realize was happening with my daughter. But when the predator uh, is trying to talk to his victim, he is going to do something called conditioning, and he wants to be the very first person that his subject uh, hears, the first voice that they hear every morning and the last voice that they hear every night. And what this does is it gets their subject, it gets them dependent on them every day. They've got to hear them first and hear them last in the morning and evening. So this gets them very dependent on them, and you got to think about the time change because we were on the opposite sides of the world. So my daughter's phone would ring or ding real early in the morning because his day was our night and our night was his day. And so I just chalked it up to being just she wouldn't tell me, and I just thought maybe it was just you know, a wrong number or something like that, and it didn't happen real often. I think she probably made sure that it was on silent or something, but um, just, if you notice that happening, that could be, it can only happen once and then you just forget about it, but that could be happening. Pay attention to these little things. I know it's a lot to pay attention to, but if you want to make sure that this doesn't ever happen to you, I truly believe that if we hadn't have taken the action that we did and gotten so much help so quickly in those first 2 days, that, our daughter would have ended up in the sex slave trade or died an early death, or both. And everything that we've had to endure to go over there to rescue her, I don't want anyone else to have to go through that. So it is worth taking the time to know what's going on with your loved ones. All right, so conditioning, that was something. If you notice that someone that you're in a relationship with is conditioning you to where you have to uh, always hear them and can't go a day without hearing them, you need to start questioning that. Okay, so the other thing is shared interest. Now, of course, when you're in a relationship with someone, you're going to have things in common, and that's normal. I mean, you should. But if they start saying that they love to, do everything that you love to do just as much as you do, they love going to the gym just as much as you do. Maybe they do, maybe they don't, maybe they're just agreeing with you. But if they love every single thing that you love to the degree that you love it, that could be a problem. That might be a warning sign. And also, what these predators do is they'll even go back into their childhood and they'll try to make connections there and say, "Oh, they'll try to create this illusion of memories that you had together." So, like even though he wasn't there, "Oh, used to love watching that movie when I was a kid, or those cartoons, or I used to love going to this place or that place." And they share these memories and create this illusion that you have always known them, that you know them now and you've always known them, and they make you feel safe with them. So creating those shared interests, and sometimes, if you're always the one saying it first, all they have to do is agree with you. Um, Pay attention. Are they sharing things first? And sometimes they can also pick up on things that you're saying that you don't realize that you've given away hints and clues. And of course, if you have social media, I'm sure they can pick up on all the vacations you went on and things that you like, and they can really know you, and or not know you, but like know about you, and then pull from those things to try to, make you feel like they have those same interests that you do. So pay attention to that. Um, Another thing while we're talking about conditioning is, as the parent, this is just kind of a small thing and it probably doesn't apply to every situation, but if you notice that, well, when our daughter left early in the morning, we have a chain link fence. At the time, we had a chain link fence, and we would have heard that gate open. We would have heard it rattle, and it would have woke us up normally. But what had happened is she had a job at a gym where they're open 24/7, and she had the early shift, and she had to be up early in the morning to leave. So we got conditioned to not hearing or being aware or waking up whenever that gate opened. And so it conditioned us to not hearing the door open, to, just go out to sleep without even noticing it in our sleep, when normally we probably wouldn't have. And so, or even if your child starts getting up and going to the gym early, or some way reason they have to leave early, or some reason that you don't notice the door or the gate opening, that could be something else that's a warning sign. Okay, and the one last warning sign of predators or any unhealthy relationship that you need to think about and ask yourself is, are you keeping secrets? Because if you're keeping this relationship a secret and your family and friends don't know about this person, that is a huge warning flag. If you love them, you should want them to know about this person. And keeping secrets from people that love you, especially about a person, a relationship, that might be a clue that they are up to something. And another thing too is that, if a person, and I'm not trying to pick on any country, but if a person is living in a very poor part of the world, like a third world country, you have to ask yourself, maybe they might be wanting to use me for financial benefit or some other benefit. They want to get out of the place where they're living. And, there's a reason why they might be talking to you, because there's plenty of people where they live, that they might could have a love interest there. There's things that you just can't know about a person when you don't live close to them. And so whenever someone, even people, whenever they go, if you go apply for a job at a bank or financial institution, that company, that bank is going to look at your credit score, and they're going to look at your debt, and they're going to ask you if you have a debt or bad credit score, because if they think that you might be using them to steal from them because you're in a needy situation, that's a risk to them. And so you need to look at that too. Is this person, do they need you for a place to live? Do they need you for a car to drive? Do they need you for money because they have no savings? Do they need you for all these reasons? Normally, you want to be ideally with someone who has something to offer you, and you're not having to offer everything to them. This could be a situation where someone is trying to use you for their benefit. So whenever people are in situations where they're needy, it's really a risk to you, and you need to think about that. Now, I want to end by saying that not all long distance relationships and not all online relationships are necessarily bad. I do believe there's a safe way or safer way to have a long distance relationship. First of all, be able to be close enough where you can drive to see them or fly to see them. But the closer you are, the more that you can get to know, the better you can get to know them, the more you can get to know them, because you could fly in somewhere and then, they get everything all cleaned up in their life just as long as they need to for you to be there. And then as soon as you're gone, well, everything's back to normal. You don't get to see them how they really are. You don't get to see where they live and how they live and what their life is like and what their family's like. You just don't really know. There's a lot that you don't get to see and you don't know. So it is risky because you're not right there with them. And if you're keeping them from your family and they don't know your family and you don't know their family, and especially if your family doesn't even know about this person, just everything should be out in the open. It shouldn't be secretive. And you just, you really can't know someone for sure unless you're with them a lot and in person. So it's a lot more of a risk and the further the away they are, the more of a risk it is, because you can't just go see them very easily. And there just needs to be transparency. Things need to be open and honest. And you can know a lot about a person, but you can't truly know that person until you're really just living your life with them, on a weekly basis in person, day in and day out. And so, although there are some relationships that can be done in person, be done online, it needs to be the main thing you want to look for is there some way they might be using you for their benefit and to your harm? That's the whole name of the game. That's what you want to know. Are they using you for their benefit and to your harm? Because relationships, they're good to have. We want relationships, but we don't want relationships where we are the target and we are being lured into a trap and we are being manipulated and deceived into doing something that could put our life at risk. We could be in danger of being human trafficked or killed or being used just to get U.S. citizenship, or even extortion, just sending money, to this person. So don't be caught and don't be lured into the trap. So I hope this helped you today to know about the warning signs of predators. Please leave me a comment in the below, because I would love to read your comments and hear from you. And I'll have a new video every Tuesday morning at 10:30 a.m. Central Time. I hope you'll join me. And I hope to see you in the next video, which is coming up right here. And it is something that I had to deal with in my book from 8,000 Miles, and it is loving your enemies. So if that's something that you feel could help you, I hope you'll join me there. See you then.